You want me to slide into it?
I think just hit it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, let's do it. I'll play better.
I think that's it though.
Great. I'm Canadian. Grew up, born and raised in Canada. My grandparents immigrated to Canada from Scotland. When my grandfather was a boy, him and his dad were walking home from somewhere, and he saw a broken accordion on the side of the road. And my great-grandfather said to my grandfather, if you take this home and you fix it and you learn 2 songs by like next week, I'll buy you a brand new one. And so he did. He took it home and he fixed it, learned 2 new songs. His dad bought him a new one. And then him and his buddies would go onto the beaches in Scotland, and my grandfather would lead worship and his brothers would talk about Jesus to people.
Lord, to the glory of God the Father. This Jesus reigns today. He's reigning right now. We're seeing him move among us. He is raising dead to life. He is moving in our city and he's moving in our community. He's the one that we worship. He is the one that we adore. So let's lift up one voice. We sing your cross. Celebrate that freedom. Come on. Your cross.
My name is Kyle Sparks. I am one of the pastors at the Capital Church here in Columbus. And I do all the music, basically. Yeah, so we do like. Do you like that tone?
Yeah, I think so.
Since I was a kid, I've just always done music in church. But then I also did a lot of music outside of the church. I was really into punk rock music, so I was in a punk rock band and did that all through middle school, high school. Between high school and college, I took a year off to work and was working in a studio to, record my first EP and then go on tour. But just really felt like God was leading me towards ministry, so I pursued that. Wanted to do that with music. My family has grown up in the church. My dad was a pastor, and so anything with music that I was doing has always kind of been linked to the church. I grew up, started playing drums in church, and then I learned how to play guitar when I was like 15, and then learned piano maybe a year later. And so I was always doing music in church. I've been leading services since I was 15. It always felt like church music was written like hundreds of years ago and never progressed. And the music that had progressed, it got stuck in like a season gone by. As the church shifted and changed in not great ways throughout history, it seems like artists, and I mean, there was always conflict between like high church and artists, that it like the influence that Christian art was having on culture was diminished. And it feels like maybe there's a trend shifting where a lot of Christians who are great artists are now actually having an influence in culture.
I started playing drums when I was 11 years old, and my brother started playing guitar at about the same time. And so we started learning together, playing a bunch of music together, became a band and started making albums and whatnot. Played shows here and there, but I mostly played drums in church. My name's Clay Strawbers, and my role is primarily production and mixing, but I also help write as well.
You want to do another guitar thing first?
Can I try something?
Yeah.
Once I got to college, it was like I moved into a tiny little dorm room and I couldn't bring my drums anymore. And so I had no drums to play. So I had to figure out a different musical outlet. And all I basically had was my computer and a MIDI keyboard. And that's how I started teaching myself how to produce music, mostly through YouTube videos and just experimenting a ton. Me and Kyle started, playing music together for church every week. Once we moved out here, got involved, helping him kind of lead the team and the production team. And we both, had an interest in writing music and recording music and a bit of history of doing that in the past. And so it felt like a natural fit to start doing it together and start making songs for our church. That's ultimately where it started. We both felt like we were, gifted by God with the abilities and the talents to write and record music. And we felt like it was a need in our church and even just in the Christian music scene in general. Like there were songs that we were wanting to hear that hadn't been written yet. And so it felt like a natural call to take it upon ourselves a bit to write those songs and record those.
As soon as we started writing these songs. I've been writing songs for a long time, and we just started kind of pulling some of these old songs that I've written out. And the first song we wrote for our church was the song "Not to Us."
And a couple months ago, we wrote a song for our church, and the heartbeat behind that song was Psalm 115, which says, not to us, Lord, but to your name be all the glory. And that was our prayer from the very beginning of our church, that in everything we would do, we'd bring more glory, more honor, more praise to Jesus, for he and he alone is worthy of it. And you see, that's really the prayer of our network, right? That with every church, with every Salt Network, we bring about. Great. I just heard we don't have lyrics. So you're just gonna have to follow me, because we're gonna learn this new song together.
We're in a sea of 5,000 college students, and everything, by way of like a production value, everything goes wrong when we're introducing this song for the first time. It's like not even like a song people could listen to beforehand. So it's like literally nobody knows this song. We wrote it specifically for our church, and we've been singing it at our church and our salt company for a couple months. And so literally the only people in a sea of 5,000 college students that know this song and were singing was the 50 to 80 Ohio State students. That felt like a very specific cry or a specific prayer for our church, that even when Luke and I were talking about planting the church, that song is written right out of the Psalms, and not to us, but to your name be all the glory. That's what we want to see, and that's been the prayer from day one, and it'll be the prayer for our church till the day we die.
Being able to do this with my best friends and see our church really worship and grab onto these songs and have people tell us how much these songs have meant to them is it's something I've dreamed of for a long time.
I just finished the first album. Clay is an incredible producer. He's worked super hard on it and put a ton of time into it. Our worship leaders have put a ton of time into singing and worshiping and writing and then even leading our church in these songs. So it's been a lot of fun, and there's more to come. This is just, it's